بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد إخوة الإسلام عباد الله. I won't be too long-winded with this particular clip. I just wanted to present some benefit as it relates to the statement of Allah concerning Dhul Qarnayn, where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Kahf, إِنَّا مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says what is translated to mean, and indeed or undoubtedly we established him throughout the earth, and we gave him a means as it relates to everything. We gave him a means as it relates to everything. And then the following verse, it states, consequently he followed a way or a path or a means. Now there's the other day or a few weeks back, I took the time to just read this particular book, the Tafsir of Surah Al-Kahf by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. It's a thin book, as you can see, and it doesn't take too long to read. And so, of course, we stumbled upon these verses and others as it relates to the qissa of Dhul Qarnayn. And I found what I had read from the Sheikh to be tremendous, as it relates to what was intended by the meaning of this particular verse. And there's one portion of the verse that I'm going to focus on, and that is a statement, وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. So I'm going to read the statement of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen, where he says, for the first part, and we gave to him as relates to everything a sabab, a means or a way. He states he gave him something, by way of that thing he arrives at what he intends, what his aim and his goal is. He's given him something that will be a means that causes him to arrive at, or to basically achieve what his goal may be. And then he continues, min kulli shay'in, as relates to everything. He states that is not general to every single thing, meaning Allah doesn't intend by this every single thing in the creation, regardless of what it may be. In this verse, that's not what's intended. He states, on the contrary, what is intended is everything that he required as it relates to having strength in sovereignty. Because we know Dhul Qarnayn had a kingdom. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala blessed him in that regard, bestowed upon him mulk. So he's basically the Shaykh is stating that everything relates to that. Everything, Allah gave to him everything that he needed as a means to be able to achieve this authority and maintain it. And as Allah is saying, Shaykh Uthaymeen is stating after that, as it relates to strength in governance and like this, but also as it relates to being firmly established within the earth. Firmly established within the earth. In other words, he gave him the means to achieve what his goals were in that regard, and to maintain what his goals were in that regard. And thereafter, I'm skipping some of the other speech of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin and go on to the next verse. فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. So he followed a way. He states, Sheikh al-Uthaymin, he states what is rendered into English to mean, he followed the path that would lead to the achievement of his goals. And he was resilient in that regard. And resilient meaning someone that is determined. He is purposeful, he's determined, he's unwavering in that regard. So he says he benefited from what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala had given him, from the means, from the ways or the means to his goals. And he states, and this is because there are some people that benefit, and then there are some people that do not benefit. He says, however, this dominion, Dhul Qarnayn benefited. فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. So he followed a path. He roamed throughout the earth in order to, he roamed throughout the earth. He basically explains, well, فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. Now, there was a reason why, when looking at this particular verse, just as Allah Ta'ala laid out the means for Dhul Qarnayn to be able to accomplish what he accomplished in his life, we find ourselves as believers in this day and time sometimes being in situations that may be unfavorable, or not necessarily unfavorable, I don't want to say it in that sense, but we may feel as if we could be doing more, or we could be achieving more, or we may have desires to achieve more. And sometimes Allah opens up a way, bestows upon us the means to achieve what we hope to achieve. And we have a choice to either take that means that He's laying out for us or turn away from it. Like Allah Ta'ala, He says in Surah al-Insan, Inna hadaynahu sabila. And I think it's probably better to quote the verse before it and then come into this verse, right? Allah Ta'ala, He says, Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfatin amshajin nabtalihi faja'alnahu sami'an basira. He states that we created man. We created man from mixed fluids. And we tested him. Thus we made for him sight and hearing. We made for him sight and hearing. And then he states after that, Inna hadaynahu sabila imma shakiran wa imma kafura. And we guided him to the path. Either he is grateful or he is ungrateful. Either he is grateful or ungrateful. These two verses, first and foremost, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is telling us that when He created us, that He's testing us, and our sight and our hearing are from those things that we've been tested with, because they are a means to comprehend. They are a means to understand and or comprehend. And then Allah Ta'ala is telling us that He guided man to a path. And either he's going to be grateful or he's going to be ungrateful. When you go to the tafsir of this particular verse, you'll find that some of the mufassirun, they'll use the statement of Allah in Surah Al-Balad to explain this verse, where Allah says, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. And we guided him to the two paths. And so what's intended by this, the path of guidance and the path of misguidance, the path of truth and the path of falsehood, right? But your eyes and your ears that are a gateway to your intellect, is giving you the ability to be able to distinguish between this and that, between guidance or misguidance, between truth or falsehood. Allah has given us the ability to be able to make a determination between these two things. And so for a person whom Allah has opened up the path to be guided, if he accepts that and walks that path, right, then that is him being grateful for that which Allah is opening up for him. Whereas if a person recognizes the path of guidance, sees it, understands it, but then turns away, then this is a person being ungrateful to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Being ungrateful to Him. This example is on a very, very high level because it pertains to guidance or misguidance. And the person who accepts and follows guidance throughout this life ultimately will be successful in the next life, whereas a person who does the opposite will be in the opposite position in the next life. But then for people who are upon guidance, you may have goals that you're trying to accomplish and this is on a lower level or lower scale, and Allah may open up the way or present to you or give you or open up the means and the ways for you to accomplish these things. These things. But you have a choice. Either you're going to take the path to accomplish these things that would lead you to being successful in that regard, or you can recognize it and not take it. You can recognize it and not take it. Whatever you choose to do, you can only blame yourself. You can only blame yourself if you chose to turn away. In that regard. And if you chose to take the path, then it's upon you to be thankful. It's upon you to be thankful to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for the means that He bestowed upon you to achieve whatever goal that you're trying to achieve. And for this reason, it becomes, what word am I looking for? It becomes unbefitting for a believer to be complaining about his condition, his or her condition, and because due to them wanting a change from their condition, and they've called out to Allah over and over again about as it relates to a change in their condition or a change or success in a goal that they're trying to achieve. And then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala gives them or lays out a means for them to achieve it. And they can understand clearly that this is a means for them to achieve what they're trying to do. And then they turn away from it. What point is, what benefit is it going to be to complain about your situation if that's the case? I mean, it wouldn't benefit you. Complaining doesn't benefit you anyway, unless you return your complaints to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, all right, and and thus forth and so on. But the point that I'm making is, when Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala opens up the ways and the means for you to achieve something, then you have to make a clear choice: follow the path or turn away from it. If you follow the path, then praise and thank Allah for that which you achieve by taking the means that Allah has given you to achieve that. But if you turn away, you can't blame anybody but yourself. Dhul Qarnayn took the means and the path that Allah opened up for him, and that's how he was able to achieve what he achieved. And likewise, whatever goals that we as people have, human beings have in this dunya, if and when Allah opens up the means for us to achieve that, we have to take the means to be able to achieve our goals. Otherwise, we have nobody to blame but ourselves. And so, this is, when I read that particular verse, that was something that was just really contemplating on and pondering on, and thus forth and so on. And I felt that it would be beneficial for the believers to hear. And like I said, I don't want to prolong this. I think the point that I'm making is explicitly clear. And with that, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.